Good. Hello, hello. Are we all ready? Okay, great. Today, I'm proud to be here to bring forward a proposal for the creation of a Consumer Fairness and Public Protection Unit that will crack down on illegal practices that are driving up costs for working families. Everywhere I go, I hear the same frustration. People are working hard, they're doing everything right, but still it feels like life is getting more expensive and more uncertain. A fee shows up after you've already agreed to the price, rent suddenly jumps, an insurance claim gets denied when your family needs care the most. Pollution in your community drives up medical bills and lowers property values. These moments, these struggles may seem unrelated, but over time they add up and they're part of a systemic challenge that we face. Because they function like what I would call an unfairness tax. These are hidden costs imposed by corporations and scam artists that make every life more expensive without improving our roads, our schools, or our neighborhoods. And the laws to stop many of these shady abuses already exist, but what has been missing is the capacity to enforce them. State agencies focus on the largest statewide cases, local prosecutors focus on serious crime, but meanwhile, new scams and unfair business practices continue to evolve, and families are left to deal with the consequences. This new CFPP unit will step into that gap. Its mission is straightforward: enforce consumer protection laws, stop illegal practices that raise costs, and help residents recover money when they have been harmed. This is civil enforcement, not new regulations, not criminal prosecution, and we can launch the CFPP unit using settlement funds the county has already secured from defendants that broke the law. That means no new taxes and no cuts to existing services. So at the end of the day, this is about advocating for fairness, fighting for fairness, fair prices, fair competition, and fair treatment under the law. It's about making sure that in San Diego, no one gets to rig the system at the expense of working families. It's about making sure that scam artists and those out to fleece working families are held accountable. So first, I'd like to introduce our kickoff speaker, Allison Snow. She's amazing. She is a professor at USC School of Law. She also somehow has time to be the mayor of Lemon Grove and is a fierce advocate for consumers and fairness in San Diego County. Allison.
Thank you. Rising costs have forced our seniors out of their homes and onto the streets. The city of El Cajon just had a recent point in time count. Over half of the people that they counted were over the age of 50. 1/3 were over the age of 60 years old. In Lemon Grove, an older gentleman named Bill sleeps in his car and showers at the gym. His Social Security check can't cover the cost of rents here in San Diego County. Abandoning our seniors to the streets is wrong. And they're not the only ones feeling the financial squeeze, the financial throttling that is happening to us. Moms and dads, students, veterans, almost everyone is feeling it. We are all barely making it. We need solutions to this affordability crisis. I am Allison Snow, the mayor of the city of Lemon Grove, and I'm also a consumer protection and housing rights attorney. For over 20 years, I've represented everyday people against big businesses and corporations engaging in bad business practices. Bad businesses hurt good businesses who are trying to do the right thing. Bad businesses hurt working families with junk fees. Bad businesses hurt our seniors with unaffordable rents due to price fixing and rent gouging. And most normal people can't afford an attorney, much less the army attorney that it takes on to take the Wells Fargos and the Honda finance companies of the world. The district attorneys can't handle all of the cases. The free legal assistants can't handle all of the cases. And with the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau at the federal level sidelined and its own director trying to defund its programming, they're not coming to save us either. We need more help. We need a financial watchdog that will fight for us. And here we have the county stepping in. The creation of the Consumer Protection Unit with the County Council is giving us the financial watchdog that we need to protect us, the regular people, and our finances. Our seniors, veterans, students, and families, they need someone to fight for them. We need to get Bill into a home, and we need our seniors off the streets. This isn't just a step towards affordability and accountability, but also restoring basic human dignity. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Allison. I appreciate everything that you do every single day. Our next speaker is Air Force veteran Tonya Savis. Tonya?
Hello, everyone. My name is Tonya Savis. I'm an Air Force veteran. I'm an artist. I'm a senior, and I'm the Director of Advocacy for the Veterans Art Project in Vista. I advocate for veterans on a regular basis. I did not know I would be advocating for myself because of fraud and theft. Someone stole my Social Security number and filed a tax return of $158,000. I didn't even make that much money in the military. But it didn't stop there. It caused my Social Security disability to be stopped. $1,500 a month I've lost in income. Now I can't even afford to live in San Diego County. The sad thing is, it just doesn't stop there. I get over 100 emails a day for fraud and scams, and at least a minimum of 10 calls. Some threatening. If you don't pay this amount of money, you can go to jail. You can lose this, that, or the other. I've had to cancel my credit cards on so many occasions. If only I'm able to get a new Social Security number, but that's not how the system works. So unfortunately, I have been fighting this battle by myself for so long, and it's so mentally exhausting as a senior and as a veteran. The good news is I was contacted by the Social Security and said, yes, it is fraud, we will help you, but we'll get back with you in October. In October, but there's no guarantee that I'm gonna get my money back. Unfortunately, the over $30,000 debt that it cost me is now on my credit report. So the scam just continues. The sad news is once your information is out there, it's waiting on the black web for them to have enough time to use your information again and scam you some more. So I would say to the veterans and the seniors, if you are a victim, please, please, please do not be quiet. Let someone know what is happening to you, because fraud is done in silence. But when we come together, thank God for the Veterans Art Project, which has helped me with my mental wellness. The DA is doing the best they can, but with a Consumer Protection Agency, if I had them helping me from day one, I would not be walking this journey alone. So my ask of you is to please fund this, not for just now, but for all generations to come, because fraud is not going anywhere. Scams are not going anywhere. But if we join together in unity, we can stop this and hold these perpetrators accountable for what they're doing to us. Thank you very much for hearing my story.
Thank you, Tonya, for sharing your story. And I hope we can bring some fight to help you at this moment, because that's so wrong and so unfair. So thank you for sharing. Our next speaker is Jesus Martin Gallegos Munoz, who lives near the Tijuana River. Jesus?
Good morning. My name is Jesus Martin Gallegos Munoz. I am a community organizer for the Chicano Federation, a resident of District 1, and one of the many individuals whose health and well-being has been affected by the chemical and wastewater pollution of the Tijuana River. In 2020, I was diagnosed with an autoimmune condition named ankylosing spondylitis. Within months, my body began to overreact to my surroundings, and with each passing day, I began to develop a new reaction to my environment. What had started as a slight gastrointestinal discomfort led to hospitalizations and countless appointments with medical specialists. My immune system was trying to protect me from contaminants and pollutants in my environment, but in doing so, I developed chronic uveitis, gastritis, colitis, and sacroiliitis. The pain in my body had become so unbearable that I could no longer walk or stand by myself. And while I am now medicated, I continue to feel how the pain spreads throughout my body every time the river overflows with chemicals. Like myself, there are thousands of vulnerable individuals in the South Bay who suffer from the chronic ailments produced by this ongoing contamination. This unit has the power to address a root cause to our decades-long pollution crisis, tackling illegal dumping and industrial runoff. While Tijuana does need better waste management and infrastructure systems, our government has oversimplified this problem to only addressing sewage and sediment runoff. This crisis is also propelled by illegal dumping and industrial runoff generated by U.S. companies along the river and based in Tijuana. I am hopeful that this Consumer Fairness and Public Protection Unit will finally establish a baseline for accountability from corporations that continue to harm our ecosystem and vulnerable populations. If this unit is to ensure our health and safety, it must be rigorous in defending our community from negligence and environmental noncompliance. We saw this battle in Flint, Michigan, and we are seeing it now in our own region. Our communities to continue to fall victim to corporate misconduct. It is time for U.S. industrial suppliers who have polluted our river valley to be held accountable for the damages they have caused. And I am hopeful that this unit will accomplish just that. Gracias.
Thank you so much for sharing your own personal story. Our last speaker is Daniel Fuentes, who is a renter who has experienced the severe health impacts of living with black mold.
Peace and power, y'all. My name is Daniel Fuentes. I'm a lead volunteer with the Butchware Campaign for California Governor, and I'm a member of the Alliance of Californians for Community Empowerment, also known as ACE. Today, I am here to share my experience as a renter who has lived in mold-contaminated conditions deemed uninhabitable by environmental health inspectors. I am here as someone who has had to fight against the corporate landlord class in order to receive the relocation assistance that was owed to me. After discovering substantial black mold in our apartment, we reported our findings to our leasing office. It then took months of stressful back and forth with management before we were able to achieve our demands for adequate relocation assistance as outlined by the San Diego Tenants Protection Ordinance. During these months, we remained exposed to black mold in our unit despite pressures from management to voluntarily vacate the unit without adequate relocation assistance. Throughout the whole ordeal, it felt like the priority was on saving cost and not on our health. My experience is not alone. Talking with my neighbors, they too had to relocate due to black mold, except they didn't know about the relocation assistance that they were entitled to, which is why we, as renters, need to organize collectively for stronger protections against the unlawful and harmful practices of the greedy, predatory landlord class. Fortunately, as a member of ACE, I was able to work with experienced tenants' rights organizers who were able to connect me with resources that helped me in my situation. But not everyone may have an ACE chapter in their area or have even heard of ACE, which is why we're here to voice support for the proposed Consumer Fairness and Public Protections Unit so that we as renters have even more resources to be able to enforce the laws that are meant to protect tenants. Thank you.
Thank you so much. What all these speakers have in common today is that they have been victims of scams and unaccountable corporate practices in our communities. In the wake of the 2008 financial crisis, when tens of thousands of Americans lost their home, President Obama stood up a unit in Washington, a division, a consumer division, the CFPD. And unfortunately, under Trump, that unit has been completely gutted. And so all the work that they had been doing to protect people from losing their homes, from credit scams, from rent scams, all of that has gone out the window. And it now falls on us in San Diego County and other counties and cities and states across the country to step up and fight for working families and fight for people in our communities that otherwise could be taken advantage of, just like so many of us were in 2008, 2007, and 2009, when tens of thousands of people lost their life savings while big banks walked away unscathed. Shame. Thank you. So what we are proposing today, the Consumer Fairness and Public Protection Unit, is going to be fighting for San Diegans. We're going to be fighting to hold accountable the dumpers, the big companies who are going to Tijuana and dumping toxic waste and toxins in the river, causing people across our region to get sick. We're going to be fighting to protect people who are victims of credit card scams and identity theft, causing them to lose tens of thousands of dollars, sometimes their life savings. We're fighting to protect renters who are being victimized. We're fighting to protect all the members of our community who right now have for too long not had anyone to fight for them. So thank you very much for all our speakers for being here, for sharing your stories, because we hope to earn the support of my colleagues at the board next week in order to fight for you. Thank you. And with that, we're happy to open the floor for questions.
You say this is going to be funded with settlement money?
Yep.
So how does it get off the ground? Are you guys going to give it seed money to get going and then the settlement will happen?
Oh, great question. So there's already settlement money that we have in a account at the county that can only be used for these kinds of purposes. So the funds are not able to be used for anything else except for fighting to protect consumers and for fighting for fairness. So we're going to be able to take the funds that have been previously won. There was a particular lawsuit against Johnson & Johnson that was a really egregious situation that we were part of that had to do with toxins being put into baby powder. I'm sure some of you remember that, a really, really tragic situation. And we won some resources and some funding from that settlement. And now, instead of it just sitting in a bank account, we're going to be reinvesting that to keep fighting for more people in our community who are also being victimized. Other questions?
When does it get going?
So this is going to be voted on by the board at our next board meeting. And immediately after that, County Council will begin a process of looking to hire a director for the unit, and the director will then start staffing up. So essentially, as soon as a vote's taken, we're going to put the word out in the street, try to get the best director we can, not nationwide search, and we'll be off and running. Other questions? Okay, thank you all so much.